And you are looking live at Sold Out Giants Stadium, where today the 15-0 New York Giants will be taking on the 0-15 Jacksonville Jaguars. Why the Jacksonville Jaguars 0-15? Because they suck. And welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all want to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening? Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I greatly appreciate it. Or anybody spends any time watching a replay of this, once again, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you so much. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here. As I always try to shoot my mouth off about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say? Just throw it in the chat box there. I check on the chat box every so often. So if anybody got any comments or anything like that, fire away and I go on there and I check them out. All right. Before we get started, there's a link in the description box. If you want to help support my channel, it would mean so much to me. I greatly appreciate it. I got 3 different membership levels. I go. First one's called the Saquon. Okay, that's $5.99 a month. Then the second one is got the Lawrence Taylor membership level. Okay, it's $9.99 a month. And then I got the big one. If you really want to help out and support my channel, it's called the Gridiron. All right, so I got 3 levels there. You can check them out. You get different perks with each one and all and everything. It would really help me out a whole heck of a lot. I greatly appreciate it. And if you're watching this, okay, and if you're not subscribed to my channel, click the subscribe button, right, and hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or put out a video or whatever like that, you'll be notified, right? And then also in the description box on Facebook, I got a Facebook group. It's called The Gridiron. All right, it's all about the Giants and everything. Please click on that, like it. I greatly appreciate it. And then I got 2 pages that I got on Facebook as well, too. One's called The Gridiron. If you want to like that one as well. And then the last one I got is called This Day in Giants History. All right, what I do is each day I put out a different video, maybe of a game that the Giants played in the past. Okay. The one that they played, it was 1981. It was October 18th, 1981. They went to the Kingdome. They played the Seattle Seahawks, and they beat them 32-0. So that was 41 years ago today. The Giants were in Seattle and kicked the living crap out of the Seahawks, 32-0. So I'll put out another video, for that Facebook page on a game that they played on October 19th, somewhere along the line in the past 40, 50 years, even 60. I go back to the 60s as well, too. So like that page as well, too. It would mean so much to me. But anyway, enough of that. Well, I'll tell you what, Kadarius Toney, he's always in the news. Either because he's not on the field or the reason why is because he's not on the field. So, I mean, he's all kinds of, I guess the trade deadline is looming. All right. And we got some stuff here. Giants rumors, Kadarius Toney trade is eyed by teams. Execs thinks that the Giants might try to make a move him. Because the guy is just, I know he's a nice guy and he's got a big heart and and all this stuff and everything, but if you can't get on the field, and it's just not this year, it's last year too. It's just got from the Bleacher Report here. All right, opposing teams are reportedly hopeful that the Giants make wide receiver Kadarius Toney available ahead of the November 1st trade deadline. I don't know why. Why would you want to trade for somebody who can't get on the field? Jeremy Fowler of ESPN reported that teams wouldn't be surprised if the Giants look to move on from their always injured 2021 first-round pick. Fowler also noted that rival executives wouldn't be surprised if New York explored a move at wide receiver, even if it doesn't involve Toney, because of their lack of depth and production at that position. Toney's logged just 2 receptions for 0 yards this season. Between him and Kenny Golladay, we have 5 receptions, I think, between the 2 of them. 5. He has not played a snap since week 2 win over the Carolina Panthers because of a hamstring injury. Well, he's tweaked both hamstrings. So when one gets better, he tweaks the other one. And the hamstring injury has been lingering since preseason. This is the Florida product's NFL career has been riddled with injuries, limiting him to just 12 games played. And we're going to go over this. Even some of the games he played in, he doesn't play any snaps. He plays no snaps. And yeah, that says he's played the 12 games and limited action at that. In the rare times he's been on the field, Toney has flashed bursts of speed as a dynamic playmaker in the slot and out in the backfield. Yep. Oh, yeah. But, I mean, guy can't get on the field. The problem is the Giants haven't been able to rely on him to stay healthy, and he's had plenty of red flags behind the scenes. So now we're going to go over this here. All right, this year he's played. I mean, obviously the first week of the season, they had him. He actually played a game. He was in on a game. Okay, that's great. But he played 7 snaps against the Titans. 7. Then he played 28 against Carolina. So he's played 35 snaps so far this year. 35. Then we go back to last year. I mean, it's just last year, the first week of the season against Denver. I mean, they had him playing actually in 10 games last year. The first week against Denver, he played 5 snaps. The week 6 against the Rams, he played 6 snaps. He caught 3 passes on the first drive, I think it was. And, of course, he was injured, got injured. Shocking there, and he had to come out. So, I mean, week 2 against Washington, he had 19 snaps. I mean, some of the games he doesn't even play. And he played in 302 snaps last year. All right, so 302. So he's played 337 snaps in his career. 337 snaps. The Giants, I mean, they're in, their depth chart. I mean, they just signed Marcus Johnson off the practice squad. Okay. So, I mean, you want to look at, I mean, they got Marcus Johnson on their depth chart here, which I just pulled up. And then they got Darius Slayton and Richie James. And then they got Wan'Dale Robinson and David Sills. So basically they have like 5 guys. And they got Kadarius, Toney, and Kenny Golladay. So they got like 7 wide receivers, okay? But 2 of them can't get on the field because they're injured. So, I mean, basically, we got Wan'Dale Robinson, David Sills, Marcus Johnson, Darius Slayton, and Richie James. It's going to be tough to, win consistently with that, I mean, because there's going to be times this year where the Giants, are going to fall behind. And they're going to need, to catch up. Score some points. And it's going to be tough with that lineup. Very, very tough with that lineup. As I said, but they signed Marcus Johnson off the practice squad. Okay. Giants today made a series of transactions affecting both their active roster and the practice squad. Wide receiver Marcus Johnson was signed to the roster off the practice squad. He had been elevated from the squad for each of the last 3 games. The maximum number of times that a move can be made from one player. Okay. Giants had 2 open roster spots after rookie defensive lineman DJ Davidson and defensive back Tony Jefferson were placed on injured reserve this week. Giants also signed veteran tackle Corey Cunningham, right? He should sound familiar. And tight end Lawrence Cager to their practice squad and released tight end Austin Allen from the squad. Wow. Johnson, 6'1", 204 pounds, started each of the last 2 games when he caught his season total of 5 passes for 60 yards. Johnson joined the practice squad on September 6th, 1 week after he was cut by the 49ers. He previously played for the Eagles, the Colts, and the Titans. Johnson's career totals have 56 receptions, 899 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He has a 19.6 yard return average on 11 kickoffs as well. So he can be a little effective in the return game as well. Now, Cunningham should sound a little familiar. He was released by the Giants on July 22nd with a non-football injury. In 2021, he played in 12 games as a reserve lineman, 113 snaps total, and on special teams, 34 snaps. A season-high 67 snaps at right tackle at Philadelphia after starter Matt Parrott suffered a first-quarter knee injury. Then you got Cunningham also played for the Cardinals and the Patriots. And Cager, I believe that's how you say his name, 6'5", 220 pounds, was released by the Jets In his only action this season, he started the season opener against Baltimore, but did not catch a pass. Kager entered the NFL as a rookie free agent with the Jets in 2020. That season, he played in 2 games with 1 start and had his only 2 career receptions for 35 yards. Kager played 1 game for the Cleveland Browns in 2021. So they made some moves, right? Then there's also another, okay, here. We got Darius Slayton. We're 2 weeks out from the NFL trade deadline on November 1st, okay? And teams around the league are already beginning to make moves. It might be tough for the New Orleans Saints to get involved this time. They're under the salary cap by a razor-thin margin with little wiggle room? I thought it's wiggle room. But after restructuring many of their contracts before the season started, they've run out of ways to work around the cap and might have to sit pat while other teams try to improve. Just maybe. Then he got this article here, right? ESPN Jeremy Fowler suggested 2 players could be on the move for New Orleans, both wide receivers, one of them incoming and another outgoing. The Giants receiver Darius Slayton is someone who could be offloaded, Fowler wrote, of the veteran backup. So you got here. Darius Slayton is an obvious option. The Giants cut his salary to $965,000 after failing to trade him before the season, and he has some pedigree as a former 50-catch guy, which is true. His rookie season, yeah, it was looking like, wow, we got ourselves a big steal here in the 5th round. So, I mean, Slayton is kind of a low-cost addition that could fit onto the Saints' books, which is true. That's something that they could afford, obviously, absolutely. And the Giants, yeah. I mean, the thing is, if the Giants wind up getting, could you imagine if they got rid of Slayton and traded away Toney? I mean, who are they going to have? But then there's, of course, got other rumors going on as well. Okay, about the with the trade deadline looming. Okay, and we got this here from the New York Post. The NFL trade deadline now more interesting for surprising Giants. Yeah, because sometimes you look at it kind of like, especially like maybe last year when the Giants, got to the trade deadline and it's like, yeah, we're not making the playoffs. Are we offloading people? But this year, you'd be a little surprised to think the Giants would be 5-1 at this point. And also, it's also kind of like, are the Giants, they trying to dump some salary? Or they be trying to go out there and trade, try to upgrade? They're 5-1. They try to make a little bit of a push, right? But so we got the New York Post here. It says, if the Giants season was pulled from a movie script, Hollywood has glamorized lesser underdogs. This would be the time for a cliched scene when 2 imaginary figures appear over general manager Joe Shane's shoulder to pull him in opposite directions. Stick to the plan. Don't mortgage the future, the conservative voice would say. Make a move. Playoff berths don't come around every year, the daring voice would say. So, it's tough. It's what does he do? What does he do? Because, we have some holes that need to be filled, It'll be very, very interesting to see what the Giants wind up doing when the trade deadline rolls around, right? Very, very interesting. It says here, maybe Shane can satisfy both with a line from his first official day as Giants general manager. You can compete today and still build for tomorrow. The surprising 5-1 Giants with 2 more games before the NFL trade deadline and also 2 more games before their bye week as well, okay? At which point they must decide whether to buy, sell, or stand pat. If only it was that simple, without consideration for the salary cap, underlying messages, or the initial plan to use year 1 of a new regime to set up for long-term sustainability. Or maybe it is simple. Consider all low-risk, high-reward trades for incremental improvement. So let's see, we got. Sure, the Giants could stamp their playoff intentions to the locker room and fan base with a roster bolstering splash, but that thinking usually is reserved for a championship contender one piece away, like the Rams trading 2 draft picks for Von Miller last season. Yep. The Bills, with Shane as assistant general manager, traded 2 draft picks for Kelvin Benjamin as a surprise playoff contender in 2017, only to regretfully cut the receiver after 13 months. Yep. Oh, yeah. The Giants' self-aware identity is rooted in fighting an uphill battle against their doubters. Installed as a 3.5 underdog Sunday to the Jaguars, and the value of a vote of confidence often is overblown compared to the risk of messing with chemistry. That too. The contributions of so many young players make every win feel like 2. We believe, and then we're good, linebacker G. Edwards said. We ride for each other. Can't do it without each other. That's what fuels us. I just want to praise this team, offense, defense, special teams, coaching staff. When they came in, they were ready to go. Who knows what the situation might be. So, but I got this here. They said the Broncos, this is interesting, Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy could be a player the Giants would be interested to get before the NFL trade deadline. Jerry Jeudy. Wow. Expect the Giants to be in the mix if a player on a rookie contract with multiple remaining years of team control becomes available for a late round pick, or in a player-for-player swap. Broncos receiver Jerry Jeudy, Steelers receiver Chase Claypool, Dolphins cornerback Noah, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, and young inside linebackers make sense to address needs. Another, albeit less likely possibility, is a star whose multi-year contract is structured to fit under the Giants' $3.6 million of salary cap space. That ain't much room. Not much room at all, according to NFL Players Association records. Panthers receiver DJ Moore, who is said not to be available, will make about $608,000 over the rest of the season, but is owed $19.9 million guaranteed next year. That's a big chunk of change, $20 million. When the Giants have about $50 million cap space per over the cap, and it carries a $30.7 million in salaries for 2024 and 2025 combined. Trading premium draft picks for a rental, like the Rams did with Miller, is not in the cards. Yeah, the Giants, I mean, if you're going to trade, it's got to be a late pick. It's got to be a 5th, a 6th, a 7th. You don't want to be trading away, a 2nd, a 3rd, or, that's your future, Trading somebody now for, it's tough. It's tough. It is really, really tough. Giants need financial resources to reward their own players. Because they don't have Daniel Jones signed next year. We don't have Saquon Barkley signed next year, right? If you're going to sign Jones, you're going to let Barkley walk. He's the only guy, not the only guy, but he's been a big majority of the team so far this year, right? But then, you sign Barkley, you're going to let Jones walk. Could franchise tag Jones as well, too, Or you can sign him to a long contract and make it, friendly for the first year or two, Let's see, the Giants reward their own players. Draft and develop is Shane's model, whether pending free agents Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, early extension candidates Andrew Thomas, Dexter Lawrence, and Xavier McKinney. Yeah, so the Giants. They want to draft, obviously. Draft and keep your players, develop them, keep them. Julian Love, right? Don't you want to keep him too? Right. So they got some decisions to make. It's not going to be easy not going to be easy at all for Shane. He's got some decisions to make. They got let's see, cornerbacks Fabian Moreau, who's been a huge help, right? Inside linebacker Jalen Smith, right? Receivers Marcus Johnson are all starting after first signing from the practice squad, while cornerbacks Nick McLeod and Jeremy Lane came up big against the Packers as a payoff from the internal emphasis to capitalize on holding the NFL's number 5 waiver priority in September. Recent additions of a 17th regular season game and 7th playoff spot in both conferences also watered down the number of deadline sellers. Only 4 teams are more than 1.5 games out of the playoffs after 6 weeks, which means the Giants would have been well positioned as sellers if they got off to a poor start that many expected. Indeed, success washed away all appeal in trading Barkley, Lawrence, or any of the other few desirable chips for the extra draft picks that could be used and packaged to move up in the 2023 draft. Now, that's the problem. I mean, if the Giants, obviously you want to win as many games. Obviously you want to win the Super Bowl. You want to be drafted number 32 overall, meaning because you just won the Super Bowl. But, I mean, the problem is, if you're like, say they're 9-8, right? Say they're drafting around 20, somewhere around there. 20, 21, 22, something. I mean, you're not going to get one of those top 5 quarterbacks. That's not happening. You don't have enough firepower to get up there. And then the problem is that some of it is also the reason why teams are drafting 1 or 2 or 3 is because what? They don't have a quarterback, or the quarterback stinks, right? So, you're not going to be able to trade up to, number 1 or number 2 if those teams need quarterbacks. There's nothing you can possibly give them. There's a franchise quarterback staring them right in the face. Doesn't matter what you're going to give them, right? Okay. That's the quarterback they want, and that to build their team around for the future. For the next 10, 15 years, they're taking that quarterback. There's nothing, Okay, we'll move back to 22. We'll get all these draft picks, and hopefully we'll find our quarterback some other times. That's not happening. The only way the Giants, they would have to trade up to a team that doesn't need a quarterback, right? They have to trade away a boatload of picks. Especially when you're drafting 20, 22, 23, 24, somewhere. It's a lot of picks to get up there. Now, of course, the Giants could certainly trade up and get a quarterback, but the trade up in the top 5 or 6, it's very, very tough. They would have to wait for one of them to come, there's going to be quite a few quarterbacks, but it doesn't seem as of right now, okay, like there's going to be quarterbacks. I don't know. It seemed like the draft class was planning out to be a lot better than it seems to be. It doesn't seem like some of those quarterbacks are really bona fide, big hitters. Right? It seems like, it seems like it's gotten it got watered down a little bit so far this season. All right. I don't see a real lot of wonderful, wonderful quarterback play from all the quarterbacks that were anticipated in being like a top first round pick. Okay. There's a couple of them, but those couple of them are going to wind up going in the top 5. And if the Giants are picking in the 20s, it's going to be very tough for them to go up there and get them. So then we just got this article I showed. I got some winners and some losers, all right, from the Giants game against the Ravens. Now you got winners, Daniel Jones, okay. Then he got here, all right, on a day when his receivers dropped 5 passes, 2 of them potential touchdowns. Now Daniel Jones was 19 out of 27. He had 8 incompletions, right? And apparently, I don't know, from Giants Wire, they had him dropping 5 passes. They dropped 5 passes out of his 8 incompletions. Wow. Jones hung tough and led back-to-back scoring drives as a secure win. So far he's been when we need a drive. Now, granted, the last drive was only 13 yards long, but we got it in the end zone, which was huge, right? Doesn't matter where you start at. Now, obviously, if the Ravens had a punt and the Giants got the ball at their own 30, just say, could Daniel Jones have drove him 70 yards instead of 13? Never going to find out. But regardless, he still took him also 2 touchdowns, right? Not just 1, but 2 touchdowns, okay? We got the stat heads will want to point out the yardage totals, but at some point or another, you just have to tip your cap to this kid. Yeah, so he's been doing very, very well so far. Very well. Winners, Brian Daboll. Not quite sure exactly what Daboll's secret is, but he has the Giants playing competitive every week. They were grossly outgained by Baltimore. Yeah, I mean, like 175 yards, 180 yards they're outgained by. Well, what not? 170. It was about 170 yards. I mean, but there's all different types of ways to win football games. The Ravens had 2 turnovers, huge turnovers, okay? And the Giants had 1. It was at the end of the first half, and it didn't cost them anything. Didn't lose them nothing, didn't cost them nothing. Okay, it was just fumble. Daniel Jones fumbled it. Ravens picked it up. Evan Neal made the tackle, okay, in the half, right? So the Giants, I think he was just, it could have gotten the ball off, maybe had a Hail Mary. But other than that, it didn't cost us anything. But then also, let's not forget that the Ravens had a boatload of penalties, bad penalties. The worst, well, there was a bunch of them, but one of them was when the Ravens had the ball and they were trying to run out the clock, and they were winning, right? They were winning 20-17. They kept the clock running, right? On third down, it was 3rd down and 1. They got the first down, and there was the penalty flag. I think they had a legal formation, so now it was 3rd and 6. So what happened on that play? The ball sails to the right of Lamar Jackson. He has to run, pick it up. Now he's scrambling to his right. He throws the ball kind of in the middle of the field. Julian Love eyes it up, steps in front of the wide receiver, picks it off, runs it down like the 13-yard line. Right? 1st and 10 for the Giants right there. Set us up for a winning touchdown. So Wan'Dale Robinson. Now he was in there for 12 snaps. 12 pass receiving snaps, 15 snaps, I believe, altogether. But only 12 pass play snaps, okay? So, in those 12 pass play snaps, he had 3 receptions. 1 out of every 4 times Daniel Jones dropped the back to pass with Wan'Dale Robinson on the field. Wan'Dale Robinson caught a pass. Big, big, big. Now, he was on a pitch count, obviously, because of his injury, okay? Hopefully this week, instead of having 15 plays, hopefully we'll be, maybe 25. Then maybe against, maybe the Seahawks. If he stays healthy, maybe he can be out there for 30 or 40 snaps. Who knows? I don't know when they're going to take the pitch count off him. But, I mean, this week coming up, I'm sure he won't be playing the whole game. But so far, he's been looking good, all right? If he can just stay healthy, right? The rookie finally got back on the field and made an immediate impact with 3 receptions, 37 yards, and a touchdown, right? Daniel Bellinger, yeah. Seems like, he's not Travis Kelce, right? He's not Dallas Goedert from the Eagles, this, that, and the other thing, but he's just very, very consistent and a fantastic draft pick for the New York Giants. Seems Bellinger does something positive every week now. He caught all 5 of his targets for 38 yards and a touchdown. So, right? He's not catching 5 passes every week, don't get me wrong. But, just at 5 catches a week, 17, 30, 68, it'd be 85 catches for the season. That would be, now he's not going to get that. But he's just very, very solid, a very good 4th-round pick, very good tight end. He's going to be a very, very solid tight end for us. Hopefully he can stay healthy, right? And we got Kayvon Thibodeau. Giants' top draft pick had the game-sealing strip sack of Lamar Jackson and appears to be on his way to becoming the force the Giants hoped he could be when they drafted him 5th overall in this year's draft. Other guys, Graham Gano, Evan Neal had a very good game, right? And Oshane Ximines, who's on a contract here, so he's going to want to really, play his best, and he's been doing a very, very good job this year. Very good job. Then we got losers for this week. There were some of those. The rushing game, yeah. And the rushing defense, yeah. Both of them. The rushing game, the Giants had just 16 yards rushing in the first half. Oh, my God. 16 yards rushing. And although that improved slightly as the game unfolded, their 83 yards on the ground were still way under their 179-yard season average. They were almost 100 yards under their average, right? And you figure, okay, well, we only ran the ball for 83 yards, but we threw for 350. No, no. We had a grand total of 238 yards of offense. Okay. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did not light it up. Right. Our rushing defense, porous. Giants got ripped apart by the Ravens running game. Kenyon Drake, 119 yards on 10 carries. Lamar Jackson had 77. They had 211 total rushing yards on the afternoon. So, I mean, pretty much between the Cowboys game and the Ravens, you kind of add those two together, the Giants gave up almost 400 yards of rushing. That's not good. A lot of it is the weakish kind of inside linebacker play we got. Okay, we're also maybe getting pushed around a little bit. Maybe on the defensive front, they're creating holes there. But there's a hole there, right? The guys behind them, maybe they got Dane Belton in the box. Maybe, we'll get Landon Collins this week. Maybe we'll get him off the practice squad. Get him in the box, maybe a little more experience. Maybe he'll do a better job. But, I mean, the guys, like this past week, Tay Crowder had a rough game. Okay. I mean, Austin Calitro, I don't even know if you even hear his name anymore. Jalen Smith kind of had a little bit of a rough game this week. Micah McFadden is not, performing super duper well. So, I mean, a lot of that has got to do with the weakish kind of, inside linebacker play. Now, if we kept Blake Martinez, would it be a little bit better? Quite possibly. So that look for the Giants, maybe address that somewhere along the line, maybe in free agency or in the draft, maybe draft another, inside linebacker. Right. Then another loser was Darius Slayton. Not really a loser, but many were hoping Slate would follow up. As his strong performance that he had the week before, you figure, okay, they're going to start relying on him and he'll step it up. No, I think he had one reception. Oh, yeah. He was targeted 3 times and we had one catch for 18 yards. The week before that, he was the man. He was the highest rated guy on offense the week before, right? This week he had one catch for 18 yards. And the Ravens don't have the defense is not super duper phenomenal, right? So then we got a couple of guys who got some mixed reviews here. They got Wink Martindale. Says the Giants defense coordinator faced his former team and eventually won out, but had a lot of warts on the way. The rushing defense and the lack of a plan to defend Pro Bowl Mark Andrews. I don't know how we get gashed with these tight ends. I don't know. It's like the guy's running, and sometimes he's just like, if he sits down in a soft spot in the zone or something, he throws and catches the ball. It's like, who's covering the guy? The guy's not Jerry Rice. We can't find somebody to cover. He said the rushing defense and a lack of plan to defend Pro Bowl tight end Mark Andrews would have been the story had they not pulled off another amazing late comeback. Then they got here, I don't know, mixed review, Saquon Barkley. I don't know. He was a little dinged up there. Said the NFL's leader in total yards from scrimmage came into the game with a dinged up shoulder and did not get on track. His longest game was just for 8 yards. He did end up with 95 total yards, which would have been 97 had he run the ball into the end zone, right on the second or third last play of the game, but we wanted to run the clock out, so he took a knee. So he could have got a couple more yards, got another touchdown, put 31 points on the board for Giants, but would have kept the Ravens in the game, would have given the Ravens the ball back, which is something didn't want to do. So I got to give him a pass on that. The dude's shoulder was hurt. He's playing smart. Not only did he, not only did he take a knee, and keep the clock running, but he got into the line of scrimmage, right? There was nowhere for him to go. What did he do? A lot of guys the coaches don't want him seeing him doing this. And I understand. They want him to stick his head down, run the line of scrimmage, get as much yards as he can, even if it's nothing, hold the ball, take a tackle, keep the clock running. But what did he do? Right? With a dinged up shoulder, not playing maybe as well, maybe he's hurt or whatever, this, that, and the other thing. Right? He stopped, spun, went to the right, some wide open spaces there. Could have taken it in the end zone, but because what he was saying, what they practice, what the coaches teach, and all this, and they go over these type of situations. You want to get the first down, take a knee, keep the clock running, end the game, and that's what he did. The sticks were right over there. He got about a yard past the sticks, took a knee, game over. Right? So I got to give Saquon with the dinged up shoulder. Got to give him a lot of credit. Now this one here, okay. Mixed reviews. Tay Crowder. The inside linebacker was not his usual omnipresent self. He only had, 3 tackles? Yeah, 3 total stops in a day. Usually he has more. Usually he's up around 6, 7, or 8. So a lot of times, they were doing some blocking, right? Right. It says not sure right now what his snap count was in the game. I could tell you, but his name was not called as often as it should have been. Yeah, a lot of, I'm saying it's just, you look, the Ravens were putting a hat on a hat. Maybe they were double teaming Sexy Dexter, maybe double teaming Leonard or something like that, but they were creating some holes there. Now, when they create holes, the guys, the inside linebackers, Jalen Smith, right? Tay Crowder, maybe Dane Belton, whoever's in the box there, right? Walking out, you got to fill the holes. That wasn't happening. I don't know how many. Kenyon Drake had at least, I think, 3 good runs. If you give up a run, Lamar Jackson had a nice run, at least one nice run. Kenyon, Kenyon Drake, really? He averaged like 12 yards a carry. 10 carries, 120, almost 120 yards on 10 carries. He had like 3 long runs. So basically 3 out of every time, 30% of the times he had long runs. They were putting hats on hats and you were just seeing holes. We're going to have to do a better job of shoring that up without question, because, when we start playing the Eagles, let me tell you what, you want to say, oh, we got here Anthony Barker. Where's Kadarius Toney going? I don't know. They got this, how they put up these rumors, and just, so Kadarius Toney, they got some executives wouldn't be surprised if they think the Giants might try to wind up moving him. There's no names here or anything like that, but I don't even know. Good luck trying to move the guy. What we got? Just picked up Bellinger from my tight end. Yeah, there you go. He's not going to get you, he ain't getting the Travis Kelce numbers. Hey, Bellinger had 13 receptions. But, right, he's catching some touchdowns. He ran one in, right? He caught one this week, right? It seems like he's getting a little bit better each week. So why not? Right? Why not? But the Giants are definitely going to need to shore that run. Especially if they're going to be playing the Cowboys again, right? Next time they're going to be playing in Dallas. Cowboys ran for like 180 yards against them. We were at home, right? Right? We got to shore that up. We got to play the Eagles 2 times. The Eagles got a good offensive line, boy. Good offensive line. And Jalen Hurts, good running the ball too, right? So, I'm not saying we're going to win the Super Bowl or nothing like that, but whether it's this year or, next year or something, we're going to have to start addressing that, because, we're going up against good teams that can run the ball and we have a hard time stopping them. And that's, when they can run, the run always sets up the pass, right? And especially if they can run, then your defense gets tired. Your defense is huffing and puffing. It makes everything so much easier for the other team to move the ball up and down the field. So that's something the Giants are going to have to address, right? Without question. Well, guys, it's been 38 minutes. I got 4 people watching right now. I got a thumbs up. I got 2 comments. Guys, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You guys absolutely freaking rock. Or anybody watch the replay of this. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You guys are the absolute best. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.